What's up guys, Sam Legend here, back again with another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video we're going to be going over some of the teams I'm going to be using for the upcoming treasure map Who's Who, which is going to be starting sometime for me the next morning. So that's going to suck. I'm not going to be able to be up for the treasure map, I'm pretty sure, but later on tomorrow I will be able to upload a video of my playthrough of the treasure map. But with that said though, we're going to be going over some teams I'm going to be using in the treasure map. So without any further ado, let's get started. But first, let's go over real fast Who's Who as a character. So Who's going to be a driven powerhouse driven int unit. So very predictable class combination of type and everything. So it's whatever really. He is going to boost the attack of powerhouse characters by 3.75 with his captain ability. He's also going to boost their HP by 1.2. He's going to reduce his own special charge time by 5 at the start of battle 2. So this is a very weak captain ability if you ask me. 3.75 is not really anything to be like excited about. It's not like garbage, but it's not good. But you will be able to get his cooldown down by a lot, because this removes it by 5 turns. This reduces it by 5 turns, plus sockets being 7. And he actually does have a limerick ability that reduces cooldown a lot more, so you can get his special up and running very quickly. As a reverse special, it's going to be on a 12-turn cooldown. It is going to deal a 15% HP cut to one enemy, and he does reduce matching and unfavorable slot effects placed on the crew by 5 turns. Now, this is the same ability that Sawa Koala have, except they only remove the unfavorable side of this completely though. I think this would have been better if it was like somewhat similar to that, but more than 5 turns is what I'm saying, because you're not really going to be using this special to get rid of that debuff, because you can actually get around that very easily by just having slots that aren't the slots that aren't unfavorable. Most of the time it's gonna be like rainbow or Wano slots. So, or any super slot that they have in the game can avoid this debuff. So it's like whatever really. He's also gonna change block slots in the matching, so that's pretty good. It's also going to have an effect depending on the color of the captain. If it's strength, dex, and quick, he is going to reduce powerhouse character's special charge time by 1 turn. He's going to boost their attack by 2.25 for 1 turn. He's also going to lock their slots for 1 turn. So, yeah, this is actually a pretty good special in this part of the special anyway. The only problem I personally have with it is the fact that it is guarded by you having a strength, dex, or quick captain. And the only time I really see you using this unit is with Psy and Int captains. But you can use them on powerhouse teams too, because that's mainly what he boosts here. So off the top of my head, I think basically every Kaido we have right now is strength, dex, and quick. More so the hybrid Kaido, because I think Who's Who is listed in the super tandem, so you can put him on the crew and you have an attack boost. You have locked slots, so if you get Wano slots, you can keep those slots for next turn. And also the tandem slot because of his super class ability. So Who's actually pretty good under hybrid Kaido. But like I said, I mainly probably going to see this unit being played under a silent Int captain, which if you do have a silent captain, he's going to reduce powerhouse character special charge time by 2 turns this time around. But he's also going to apply a minus 15% powerhouse resistance to enemies. So obviously this debuff is really good because it goes through everything, and as of right now, there is no interrupt for it. So basically it's extra free damage. The only problem I have with it is that it's pretty much on the weaker side, sort of, than the previous part of the special. I feel like that special is a lot more useful with the cooldown reduction, attack boost, and locking of slots. That special seems a lot more useful than the more cooldown reduction and just resistance. So that's just me personally though. The sailor abilities are going to be able to reduce his own special risk by 2 turns, and he's going to, if you tap with him with an int slot, he's going to boost attack boosts by 0.2, so he can actually boost his own attack boost up to a 2.45 attack boost. So that's pretty good. And obviously other attack boosts also get buffed up too. His limerick abilities are going to be reducing his own slot bar by 5 turns. He's going to have the and raging for 150, and he's going to reduce increased damage taken by 3 turns. He's also going to reduce his own cooldown by 3 at the start of the quest. So if you have him as a captain ability, if you have him as a captain, you get 8 turns of cooldown essentially, plus 2 on top of the socket. So you get 11 turns of cooldown, but 11. You get 10 turns of cooldown. If you have a ship, then it's 11. So you can get this special up really quickly. Overall, Who's a pretty okay character. Probably not going to see too much play. Probably like very niche play, if you ask me. But overall, he's like okay. With that being said, though, let's go over the actual treasure map teams. So starting off, we're going to be looking at the mini bosses, and then we're going to go into the boss and the region battle. So starting off, we have page 1, X Drake, who's going to be an int character, and he's going to reduce everyone's cooldown by 5. And he's also going to, on stage 3, he's going to give us a 70% HP cut. He's going to give himself 3 turns of damage threshold. He's also going to inflict those 8 turns of bind to our bottom rows, which does go down to 5 turns after sockets. So obviously they're recommending you to use Chopper and Ulti here because both of those characters get around everything here. Chopper gets around the bind because if you have him as a captain, his special does get rid of bind by 5 turns, so you can get rid of all turns of bind on the stage. And then the OT is going to get rid of the threshold for you while also giving you a chain boost. So by using those 2 units, you get around everything, and all your other units can be just filled with whatever. So I'm gonna have the treasure map Sanji as one of my units on here to give me the orb boost for basically everybody. We have the treasure map Garp here who's going to give me the attack boost, and we have the Jinbei who's going to give me the color affinity boost, and that's really it for this team right here. Moving on, going over the page 1 boss, who's going to be a quick boss. He is going to reduce the cooldowns for Slasher, Free Spirit, and Fire characters. He's going to give us on stage 3 unfavorable slots. He's going to hit us with 2 hits of hunger, which is really annoying. He's also going to inflict us with 5 turns of attack down and also make our type slots unfavorable. So they obviously want you to use the Kazuna Brook here because his special does get around basically everything. So as you can see, he gets around the attack down by 6 turns. He changes slots. You're gonna have basically, if he's in the middle row, you'll have 4 matching slots at the very least. And he, also has hunger that can be that can get rid of hunger by 2 hits. So they obviously want you to use the Brook here. I'm gonna be using the KDAD unit because he is boosted on here, and they will get rid of the attack down passively, and plus they give you water slots, which are a lot more powerful than the tandem and recovery slots you to get with Brook. So I obviously have a way to activate the super class special, having a Kiku and Cat Viper on the crew. I also have Law here just because he's a dex slasher unit that I can use on this team, and obviously I have the Brook here too. So with this, I have the attack boost with KDAD. I have the orb boost with Cat Viper. I have a chain boost with the Kiku, and I have base attack boost with Brook there. And then if I have another KDAD unit from my friend captain, I can buff the attack and the orb boost to a 3.25, I think, for both of them. Or I don't want both, but anyway, I get the buff up my attack and orb boosts with this team. Moving on, we're going to be looking at the ulti boss, who's also going to be a quick boss. She is going to reduce the cooldowns of Driven, Slasher, and Powerhouse, and she's also going to make type slots unfavorable. She's going to have 7 turns of damage threshold, 6 turns defense up, and 3 turns of barrier, and 6 turns of resilience. So a lot going on here, but essentially they want you to use the combination of the 6+ Kid and the treasure map Killer from the previous treasure map. So what we're going to be having here is, I'm actually not going to be using the Killer here because the Killer is less points. Plus, I don't think a lot of people have the Killer. I'm not really making teams to be accessible to most people, but I do want to make teams that I think most people can build. So the Killer obviously is out of here just because of the fact that he is a lower point booster here. So we have this combination of units here. We have Kid as a captain here because he does remove threshold by 7 turns in his special right here. And he does actually get around the barrier too, because if you'll take away the bomb slots you get with the super class or super type and change them into super bomb, he does damage based on how many slots he removes, and he goes up to 3.5 million. So that obviously gets around the 3 million hit barrier that ulti is gonna have. Now we also have the event Kaido on here too, because if your captain is driven, he will do end of turn damage for I think 2 or 3 turns. So our captain is driven, so we actually do get the end of turn damage there. I also have the Rhinozo there because he does get rid of defense up, so that's obviously good for the defense up situation there. Now I'm thinking about it, he does not actually do that. So he actually gets rid of 5 turns of it. So I think maybe what I'm gonna do is put the support of Onami on the Zoro Sanji here, just because she does reduce defense to 0, and it just makes it a lot easier to get around defense up there. So you can actually replace that Rise with anyone else you want to use. But now that I'm seeing it, he is a 1.35 booster, so I'm going to keep him on there just because he's a high point booster. We also have the Orochi there. Orochi is definitely not necessary. He does boost the orbs and color affinity boosts of the driven characters and powerhouse characters, but you can replace him with anyone else you want because you don't really need him on the crew. You could probably get another color affinity booster if you wanted to, because Zoro and Sanji are an orb booster for Dex characters, and since the boss is quick, it makes more sense to boost their color affinity. But it's really whatever. But the Zoro Sanji is here just because they can facilitate activating the kid's super type, because Zoro is part of the requirements there. Moving on to the last boss before we get to the big boss and the intrusion battle, we have Sasaki, who's going to be an Psi unit, and he's going to reduce the cooldowns of Dex, Psi, and Int characters. He's going to inflict us with 5 turns of attack down, give us block slots, and special bind for 5 turns, and special reverse for our crewmates. He's also going to do end turn damage, which doesn't matter too much, but if you do activate a color affinity boost, he is going to bind our crewmates for 5 turns and remove all of our effects. So they obviously want you to use the Big Mom batch here, but I don't have all that batch. I only have Otama. So I'm going to be using the 6+ Ace, the Halloween Ace, to get around all of the special binding and reversing abilities. And also I'm going to be using the Shiryu to get around the attack down, plus the Josie support on Ace to get rid of 6 turns of attack down in total. So that gets around a lot of the deepest already. Now the block slots, I'm now realizing I don't have the unit that I wanted on here. The unit that's actually pretty good for getting around the block slots is this buggy right here. You can actually replace the Otama with the buggy. You also have Bon Clay, which is really good here to get around block slots and give you a base attack boost. Like I said, Otama's definitely replaceable. She's not really needed. All she does is orb boost. So, like I said, you can use the buggy instead to get rid of the to not get rid of, but to give you an orb boost, because it's a rainbow orb boost, so it's really good. We have the what's his name, Caesar. This is the arena Caesar, who's going to give us a conditional boost against poison enemies, because the enemy is not immune to poison, so we can get a conditional boost off here. And that's really it for this team. This team actually does pretty well. Now, you don't have to have a double ace captain, but I mean, it's whatever really. But yeah, this is a team for the Sasaki boss. Now, moving on to the boss and intrusion battle, we're going to go over the intrusion first. So looking at who's who, he is going to be an int character when you go to his stage. He's going to reduce the cooldowns of strength, psi, and int. And on stage 2, what's going to happen is whoever's on stage 2 is going to give us unfavorable slots, and also going to reduce the cooldown, reverse the cooldowns of our right side by 3 turns, and also is going to paralyze the middle left and bottom left units for 5 turns, and also give us 5 turns damage reduction. And delay immunity, but it doesn't matter too much. On battle 3, he's going to give us unfavorable slots again. He's going to give us a 50% HP cut, which is really significant here. He's going to give us the chain-related debuffs, so the chain down and the attack down below a certain chain. This time around, it's going to be a 2.8 chain, so that's annoying. He's going to also give himself 6 turns of damage reduction and 3 turns damage threshold. And if you use a slot changing ability, he's going to give you unfavorable slots again, bind your bottom right unit, and give himself another 3 turns of threshold. So obviously they want you to use Jinbei and Big Mom here to get around all the various effects. They all work well together, but obviously I don't have neither of these units, so we're going to be using Halloween Ace once more to get around all of these special, I think, reduction, special reversing abilities. We have the Big Mom here to get rid of the damage reduction on stage 2, and since we have Ace as the captain, the slots for our Saiyan 8 characters are going to be counted as matching because he does make Saiyan 8 beneficial for your fighters and fighter and shooter characters. That's really it for that stage 2 boss, I'm pretty sure. Also the paralysis, there we go. Paralysis, we have Chopper for that. As you can see here, he gets rid of the paralysis for us. And on stage 3, we have Jinbei, who Jinbei actually does get around everything that's on stage 3, because if you don't know already, Jinbei has the ability to get rid of the damage reduction for us. He can give us a chain boundary if we don't have a chain boundary already, and if we do, we have an attack boost, which I'm going to be able to get that attack boost, as you'll see in a minute. We have the super class special, who's going to get rid of the damage reduction for us, heal us, change our type slots, and give us damage reduction to make us take the death hit, which I forgot to mention that what happens when you can defeat the boss, you get a hit with 50k damage. So I forgot to mention that for some reason. So Jinbei is able to tank all that damage for us, especially since he probably won't have, actually no, you will have the damage nullification and his captain ability removed, I'm pretty sure. So that's gonna probably suck. Anyway, we have the Sabo here. Sabo's gonna give us a chain, a boundary, starting at 3 point, so we can actually get around the chain down debuff that we get inflicted with on stage 3, which will enable us to get the attack boost from Jinbei, because it says if you have a chain lock already, which chain boundary does count as that, he will get the attack boost instead of the chain boundary. So on stage 3, we're going to have chain boundary effects, we're going to probably have the orb boost from the Tama, and we're going to have the attack boost from the Jinbei, and we're also going to have the super class of fighters. So depending on the color of the boss, we are well, obviously his int, we can easily take care of who's who. So that's really it for this team right here. If you don't have, for some reason, the Big Mom, you have the Fujitora from the Sengoku badge. He also is a good replacement and actually doesn't work under both captains. Big Mom only works under the Jinbei there. Now for the final boss of the treasure map, which is going to be Black Maria, who's going to be an int unit. So what she's going to do is on stage 1, obviously we get our cooldowns reduced for fighter, powerhouse, and slasher characters. She's going to, on stage 2, give us block slots, 7 turns of despair for our captains, which does go down to 4 turns. We have to deal with 3 turns at threshold, and 5 turns of the attack down. And then on stage 3, we have to deal with special bind for 5 turns, unfavorable slots, 10 turns of damage reduction, and 5 turns of defense up and attack down. So not really too much going on the stage, if you ask me. If you have the Jinbei, obviously this is pretty easily. But for this team, I'm going to be using Treasure Map Blackbeard as my captain, because either way I see it, if you have like, just real quickly, let me do this real fast. If you have a chain boost active along with the base attack boost, then you actually can facilitate getting the super class special of the Blackbeard, because I thought he was only going to be able to activate it if you had crew members on there, but also if you have a chain boost and a base attack boost, you're going to get it. I'm explaining this because on stage 3, we're going to be able to get both of those things, because this ulti is actually really good for this final boss, because she does get rid of both special bind and attack down, gives us the chain multiplier bonus boost, and gives us a base attack boost for our powerhouse and fighter characters. She's like really good for this final stage. But speaking of stage 3, we're going to be using the Arena Sasaki to get around the despair and attack down, who's going to get rid of all of it by I think 5 turns, because of how the special ability works. Depending on how many times you use it, you get rid of more turns of the debuffs and you get a higher color affinity boost. So on the first activation, you get rid of it by 2 turns. On second, it gets rid of it by 3 turns. So it's actually really good on D stage 2. We also have Big Mom, who is going to get rid of the threshold for us and the block slots, which now I'm realizing if I do that, the Jinbei won't activate. So I'm gonna put the Jinbei on the Zoro here, which I'll get into it in a minute. The Zoro is actually pretty good because he gets to lower the defense of the enemy on stage 3, and he does activate the super class special of Jinbei because he's Zoro. He's a Straw Hat unit. So that's actually going to be pretty good getting that super class off with Jinbei. Now the Blackbeard, like I said, you get to get his super class special because he has base attack boost and a chain boost on the last stage. And his super class special does give an attack boost for powerhouse characters. I think it's just powerhouse characters. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's driven and powerhouse, yeah. And yeah, you'll be able to get that attack boost on the last stage. Now you also could activate Blackbeard on stage 2 to get the chain boundary and hit your perfects, get another chain boundary, and just get the attack boost from Jinbei. Either or is fine, it doesn't matter which one it is, but you'll be able to get all that on stage 3. So that's really it for my teams, and that's really it for this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and I will see you guys in the next video.